So here's the question. In a commercialized society, are all symbols devoid of meaning? Welcome to Ostracon, a podcast that translates fragments into the whole from which they came. Here's another way that you could ask the question. In a commercialized society, are all symbols commodities? At least those symbols that suffer a conversion to a product. So, a couple of ideas. Symbols, of course, can carry great meaning. They have historical and cultural contexts. And without the operation of consumerism, you would normally assume that someone displaying a symbol affiliates themselves with a historical or cultural context of the symbol and its genesis. But what happens when symbols are sold? I recently had a friend who told me she found herself at a gas station alone with two guys with shirts with Confederate flags. And in her circumstances, it might be reasonable to be nervous, as she admitted she was, if you were to take the symbols that they were wearing at face value. But then she's presented with a conundrum. Do you take them at face value? What if they're actually nice people, to whom that symbol means something entirely different than it means to someone else? You start asking these questions, you can very quickly get into profiling. It seems contrary to the rights of the person to presume something upon them. On the other hand, can we assume that somebody means what they say? On the other hand, if symbols have been totally commoditized, and we don't know what they mean, then how do we know what somebody's actually saying? Even dress, appearance, other things can fall into the category of symbol. Here's a couple of other examples. Two that come most immediately to mind are skulls and crosses. So you see skulls all over the place. T-shirts just covered in skulls. Skulls on bumper stickers, melted and mutilated skulls on soft drinks. And it's like, why? You know, what does the skull mean? Is it death? Is it hell? Is it mortality? Is it inevitability? And is it ending up all over someone's clothes or car or products because they feel themselves deeply aligned with the vulnerability or fragility of the human person? Deeply aligned with death? Are they an advocate for death? Do they wish for it? Do they welcome it? You know, do they think themselves dangerous? Crosses, an instrument of execution. And anyway, associated for the last 2,000 years with someone who is executed on one of these mechanisms and said some pretty radical things. Upside down crosses also were very popular for a while. And so you see them all over the place in cheap jewelry and trinkets, again, bumper stickers. What does it mean? Do you affiliate yourself with that person? Are you prepared to enter into the radical things that he said? for all the upside down crosses in the music videos? Do you hate that man? Do you hate those people? What does it mean? Or you can return again to the idea of flags. You think about the old stories that you would hear at Gettysburg or something about some young soldier risking his life to get the flag off the ground. And now we have plastic flags, little flags that are poured out by hundreds and thousands and millions, and they end up all over the ground and in the trash. What does it mean? And so, to return to the question, once a symbol can be sold, or maybe once it is sold, does it remain a symbol, or does it just become whatever it is that people are selling? Does it become the life or the image they're selling that somebody wants to buy into? Does it become an affiliation of like-minded buyers? Does it become a selling point for someone who uses the symbol to demonstrate some type of affinity? Does it morph to the whims of the seller? Or once it's separated from historical and cultural context, does it mean anything at all? Can it ever mean anything again once it's commoditized? You can think of your own symbols that you've seen as targets of commoditization. Put them in the comments if you like. What do they mean post-commoditization? And once any symbols can be commoditized and repurposed, is there then a diminishment in the meaning of all other symbols vulnerable to the same process? And I guess the final question would be, if symbols are lost as commodities, then what is the nature of that loss? Do we need symbols? Have we lost anything? Or is this phenomenon always been the case with symbols? It just maybe looks different in different economies and time frames.